Hello everybody, this is Avidan, and may God's peace, grace, mercy, and wisdom be with you all if you seek Him. Now, I'm going to bring up something that a lot of people aren't going to like, and that's okay, because I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to share where you might be going wrong, and I'm going to leave it to God after, and leave it to you guys to seek God's truth. This is called plausible deniability. And a lot of these channels that are preaching that we know the difference between right and wrong, we know who is lying, who is not, who is playing us, who is part of the New World Order, all this stuff. They don't seem to be talking about this, so it's time that we start doing so. The term plausible deniability is something you won't hear much from these channels. And this is on Wikipedia. I know how much you guys love that. But we're going to go through it. Plausible deniability is the ability for persons, typically senior officials in a formal or informal chain of command, to deny knowledge or of responsibility, to deny knowledge of or responsibility for any damnable actions committed by others, usually subordinates in an organizational hierarchy, because of a lack of evidence that can confirm their participation, even if they were personally involved in, or at least willfully ignorant of the actions. In the case that illegal or otherwise disreputable and unpopular activities become public, high-ranking officials may deny any awareness of such act in order to insulate themselves and shift blame onto the agents who carried out the acts, confident that their doubters will be unable to prove otherwise. This, the lack of evidence to the contrary, ostensibly makes the denial plausible. That is credible, though sometimes it merely makes it unactionable. The term typically implies forethought, such as intentionally setting up the conditions. Listen in. Such as intentionally setting up the conditions to plausibly avoid responsibility. Plausible means without, you can't prove it otherwise. Avoid responsibility for one's actions or knowledge. I'll read it one more time. The term typically implies forethought, such as intentionally setting up the conditions to plausibly avoid responsibility for one's actions or knowledge. Now, a lot of these, if they are hoaxes, because I believe that they are psychological operations, I certainly believe that. They may or may not be hoaxes, but I have a feeling that you're still playing on their game when you think that you're busting them. That's what I'm saying. I think this also sets it up pretty well. We'll go further into it. In some organizations, legal doctrines such as command responsibility exists to hold major parties responsible for the actions of subordinates involved in heinous acts and nullify any legal protection that their denial of involvement would carry. Now, if these are black ops operations, I don't think that would be happening, would it? In politics and espionage, deniability refers to the ability of a powerful player or intelligence agency to pass the buck and avoid blowback by secretly arranging for an action to be taken on their behalf by a third party ostensibly unconnected with the major player. In political campaigns, plausible deniability enables candidates to stay clean and denounce third-party advertisements that use unethical approaches or potentially libelous, or libelous, whatever. Libelous is what it is. Innuendo. It's also a legal concept that refers to a lack of evidence proving an allegation. Standards of proof vary in civil and criminal cases. In civil cases, the standard of proof is preponderance of the evidence, whereas in a criminal matter, the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. If an opponent cannot provide evidence for his allegation, one can plausibly deny the allegation even though it may be true. Although plausible deniability has existed throughout history, just remember, throughout history, okay? The name for it was coined by the CIA. Woo! in the early 1960s to describe the withholding of information from senior officials in order to protect them from repercussions in the event that illegal or unpopular activities by the CIA became public knowledge. The roots of the name go back to Harry Truman's national security paper, 10/2 or 10/2, whatever, of June 18th, 1948, which defined covert operations as all activities conducted pursuant to this directive, which are so planned and executed that any U.S. government responsibility for them is not evident to unauthorized persons, and that if uncovered, the U.S. government can plausibly disclaim any responsibility for them. So, created by the CIA at least 67 years ago, that we know the CIA understands this concept. Although we can find it throughout history, right? If someone plans something bad or whatever, they can set it up so that if you even catch them, you're never going to be able to bust the root of the problem. You're never going to be able to get to it because it's most likely it's been set up so that you never will. I mean, I'm not trying to be insulting to anybody, but when we think that we have busted these hoaxes, no, you haven't. You haven't, okay? You haven't. You haven't busted the root of this stuff. And you're not gonna. Do you know why? You're not gonna. That's why, okay? These people are working under the same game as has been for time and eternity. And when you fight these things on their game, you are just going back to the same fleshly desires to be right. You have to be able to believe that you yourself are the judge of these things, and then you have to basically just follow along the way that they've probably set it up to do so in the first place. I mean, the CIA is very, very good at doing black ops operations. Why do you think that a lot of these, what we call to be psyops, I believe them to be psyops, are so obvious to us, but not to others? Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Because it's most likely been set up that way, so that we have a whole bunch of people thinking that they can judge others, that they can say, oh, he's a liar, he's really part of this, he's really part of this. No, you're not going to be able to find it out. The best you're going to be able to do is to bust the agents. Okay, you're never going to be able to stop the true root of the problem. If it comes to public awareness that these things are going on, they can just switch their plans out to another plan B, which I'm sure they created 60 years ago like they did this term, and they'll be ready for you. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. The awareness that you're giving to other people is not awareness that we can't figure this out, that we cannot beat them in their system. You're not going to be able to beat them, okay? The way to beat them is to stop living in the flesh. Stop living in judgment. Stop living in blame. This is done by confessing your own sins. Because there's a lot of truth to what they show on the media about what truthers are, that we think that we can actually bust the CIA and what they're doing. Right? They've been doing this since our grandfathers were born. They've been doing this since our fathers, whatever, were born. They've been doing it forever. And a lot of people come to this realization, right? And many people never will, and that's okay. And what you need to do is have love for these people, because there are within this group people that will be able to figure this out on their own. And there's going to be other people who still just want to be a judge and still want to play God and say that they know who's at fault here. But they don't. They don't know. They have never known. They might be able to spot a psyop, I think a lot of us can. I think even the people that are just don't even pay attention to it can. They know that the media is fake. They know that the media can lie to you. I think, my personal belief is that you're wasting your time. You are wasting your time, I believe, strongly. Because all this time that you're trying to bust these people that have most likely set it up so that they'll never be caught, right? You're spending your time in the flesh, blaming others. There's only one way out of that, and that's Jesus. If you confess your sins, say that Jesus has died for yours, believe that, he's going to allow you a way out of this. And he's going to show you that. Most people won't say that. Most people won't talk about plausible deniability. These are the people who have been here for years. And this is why I truly believe you need to get out of this. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't be here in this community, but to actually be in the mindset that you think that you're going to win as long as you wake up enough people. No, it's been set up. It's all been set up. It's been set up so that you all keep fighting against these authorities that you'll never be able to beat. There's only one person, it's not a person. There's only one that can beat this, and that's God. Because this is Satan's plan. And no man has ever been able to beat it on their own. No man. They either lose their lives and die trying. That's how it works. So I thank God that I have Jesus in my life to be able to show me this, that I don't have to waste my time on it anymore. And if there's times that come up that I think that it is important, maybe I will do a talk on it. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to limit myself to anybody else's will, except for the Lord's. If he shows me that I need to talk about this, maybe, okay. But at this moment, I think it's much more important that you guys see that you're wasting your time. You are wasting your time. You have a limited amount of time on this earth and possibly an eternity in heaven. But if you keep chasing these people, they that want you to be chasing them, right? They want the sheeple to stay a sheep, right, on the outside of this, but they want you to continually go against this and drag more people in this so that they can drag more people that can blame others, right? And then they can go ahead and blame all more of these people for being crazy. If the whole thing falls on them, they're over to plan B. They're done. You're never going to catch them. Done deal. The game's over before it started. That's all I'm saying. The game is over before it started. And I know most of you won't want to listen to this, and that's okay. I'm not here to impress you. I'm not. And I'm doing this because I love you, and you deserve to hear the truth other than people that want to play God. Because that's what they're doing. They're playing God. They think that they can declare all things, that this is a crisis actor, that there might not be, or that there isn't 100 different other possibilities for why they're partaking in a psyop. They may not even know. They may not even have a clue what's going on. Now, you guys have a chance. You guys have a chance. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep chasing after these people, or are you going to run to Christ? Doesn't mean you can't look at it. That's not my place to say. But it's time that we take a realization of how they're playing us. Because you're still playing Satan's game. Well, this has been Avidan. Thank you so much for listening. For those who have withstood this conversation, because it's hard for people to listen to. I understand. But it's necessary if you believe that you can be saved. And you can. Confess your sins to the Lord. And believe in Jesus Christ, who died for yours. And you will be saved. Take care, guys.